Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Zeev. I'm a makeup obsessed college student in the US, in North Carolina, which is on the East Coast. And if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, like, comment, engage in some way. Okay, so for today's video, we are going to be doing a full face of Sephora favorites. So pretty much this is, as the title says, it's going to be my Sephora starter kit. So a lot of people do a drugstore starter kit, just saying like if you are looking for a specific drugstore product, watch this video and see what I recommend as a drugstore favorite, just for, a beginner into makeup in general. So this video is going to be a little bit different. It's a Sephora starter kit. So this is, let's say you have a bunch of drugstore makeup, but you want to get into the whole high-end makeup and makeup you can get at Sephora. This is like what I would recommend. Like if you're going to go to Sephora and buy something, and let's say you're looking for a powder, then the powder I'm talking about in this video is the powder I recommend that you grab. This isn't like, I'm not talking about like a bunch of things. I generally have one product for each category. So, yeah, I think that's it. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm going to start with is primer. I like to prime my skin before I do my brows. And then I do my brows and my eyes, and then I move on to back into the skin. So I just like to let my primer settle in a little bit. So the first primer I recommend is the Ole Henriksen Banana Bright Face Primer. This one is really nice for like just moisturizing the skin and giving you a little bit of luminosity. So if that's not what you want, then I wouldn't go for this one, but makes your skin feel really good and nice and hydrated, and I really enjoy it. It does have a slight yellow tint to it when you pull it out of when you squeeze it out of the tube, but it goes away on the skin. As you can see, don't have any pinkness on my skin. It's just nice and glowy and fresh. So for primers, I do have two to recommend. I like to use two primers. So I like to use one to moisturize my skin, to hydrate my skin in some way. And then I like to use a pore filling one to fill in my pores. And there are a ton of options at Sephora for both moisturizing and pore filling primers. These are just what I recommend. So for the pore filling primer, I recommend the Tatcha Silk Canvas. Now you can get the original, which is this one, or you can get the liquid one. I have minis of both, and I like them both. They're not too different in my opinion. So, go for whatever makes you comfortable. If you don't like sticking your finger in a pot, then you might like the luminous one or the liquid one better because it's liquid and you just pump it out. But if you don't mind that, like putting your hand in a pot, then you can go for the original. It's really up to you. They have minis of both, so whatever floats your boat. The full sizes are expensive, $52, I believe. So I don't know about getting a full size right away. I would probably go for a mini and try it out. And then if you like it, go ahead and invest in the full size. But I wouldn't go straight into the full size. But that's just me. So now that I have primer on, I'm going to let that sink in, and I'm going to move on to the brows. For brows, I recommend the Precisely My Brow by Benefit, and I have the shade 4. Can you see that? Shade 4. This is a little micro tip, and it's got a spoolie on the other side. So this is probably my favorite brow pencil. I just like, for me, brow pencils are kind of, I don't know. I can do with most microfine brow pencils. I don't like the ones that are like teardrop shaped, like the Brow Definer by ABH, or the I think it's called the Goof Proof by Benefit. Those aren't my favorite, just because I don't like them. But this is a really good brow pencil, and they have a ton of shades. Like, I think it's 1 through 6, and then they have like 2.5, 3.5. So they have like 0.5. So they have like 12 shades, which is pretty crazy. And if you go on the website, you can see like what they say the shade is. So like 4 is a warm brown. And that's what I like to go for my brows. And my brows are pretty, I don't know what the word is, full, I guess. So I don't need to put too much like work and effort into it. But even if you have like really sparse brows, this is a great way to make those like fine hair like strokes, or, you know, filling in and making a line at the bottom. I think you have a lot of options with this brow pencil, which makes it a really good brow pencil. So this is probably my favorite brow pencil at Sephora. So I'm going to do the other brow, and I'll be right back. All right, brows are done. So let's go ahead and move on to the eyes. Depending on the eye look I do, I like to either do them first or wait until my face is done and then do them. It really depends on the eye look I do. If I do something more extravagant, or I expect to have a little bit of fallout, I like to do it first, and then I can kind of clean off the fallout before it like disturbs my makeup underneath. So for eyes, I don't really have an eye primer from Sephora that I use. I tend to go for the MAC Paint Pot if I use an eye primer. So you can get the MAC Paint Pot at the MAC stores or at Ulta. But if you were trying to do like a full face of Sephora, I would just use your concealer. To me, that seems like the best kind of way to go. So I'm going to use my concealer to prime my eyes, and then we'll get started with the eyeshadow. All right, so eyes are primed. So let's go ahead and move on into the eyeshadow. So for eyeshadow, if you are just, you know, trying to get into higher end eyeshadows, I think these are a great way to get started. And there's a ton of options for, you know, whatever you like. So, you know, pick what works best for you. So I have the Huda Beauty Topaz Obsessions, and these are her 9-pan palettes. If I can open it. This is what it looks like. Just a really cute kind of orangey neutral palette. And she has a ton, like I mentioned. She has pastel ones. She has ones that are called Nude Light, Nude Medium, and Nude Deep, I believe. And those are suited for those skin tones. But I don't have any of those, but I love the look of Nude Medium and Nude Deep. Nude Light is very pinky purple, which is generally not what I go for, especially like light pinks and light purples. Not really my vibe. So I just have this one, so we're going to use this one today. but the quality is really good, and they're only, I believe, $29. So they're not as expensive as her bigger palettes, and the quality is more consistent in these little 9-pan palettes. So what I'm going to do is first go into this shade, this shade right here, and I'm going to buff that into my crease. Okay, so I've gone ahead and blended that first shade into my crease. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this shade right here. This shade right here, and I'm going to put that in my outer and inner corners and do a bit of a halo eye kind of thing. And then when we put the shimmer on, we'll put it right in the middle. So I went ahead and blended out that deeper shade into my outer and inner corners. And now I'm going to go back in with the brush I used with the first shade, and I'm just going to blend it out. So now that the two crease shades are blended out, I'm going to go in with my shimmer, and I'm going to take this shade right here, and I'm going to use my finger just because it's easier, and I'm going to pat that right in the center, and then I'm going to blend it out using those two brushes I used with the other shades. All right, so I went ahead and put that shade all up in the center of my lid. So that's all I'm going to do for my upper, whatever these are called, eyes. And so now we're going to move on to face. And then once I powder, I'll go ahead and do the lower lash line and we'll finish off the eyes. So for concealer, I highly recommend the Too Faced Born This Way, hello, focus, multi-use sculpting concealer. I have the shade Swan. This is hydrating, but medium to full coverage, and it works for most skin types. I would say, dry skin can use it because it is hydrating, but oily skin can also use it. I don't know about not setting it, but you could still use it and get that good coverage, even, and making sure that your under eyes stay hydrated and not, cakey or anything like that. So I'm going to put this on my under eyes and blend it out, and I'll be right back. So I blended out that concealer, and I did a little bit on my nose and kind of through the brows so that I wouldn't mess up my brows when I did foundation. I feel crazy. I look crazy right now, like literally crazy with this like mask of concealer and then nothing else on the rest of my face. So let's move on to foundation before I have to keep looking at myself like this. For foundation, there's, a ton of options at Sephora that you can kind of go through, but for me, this is just kind of one of the ones I recommend for anybody, but especially for people just getting into high-end foundation, because it's like beginner proof. You can't mess up when you're using it. It works really well, even, with lighter coverage, and then you could go medium to full coverage. It really just depends on how much you use. That is the NARS Naturally Radiant Longwear Foundation. Don't know why it won't focus, but you could tell by the jar, just the size of the jar, which product it is. I will say that the pumps on this are smaller than the pumps you get with usual. So like when you pump one pump, it's probably about half a pump of a regular foundation. So don't be surprised if you do 2 pumps and it's not the coverage you want if you're used to doing 2 pumps with other foundations. So I tend to do 3 or 4, and then I like to dot it over my face, and then I'll blend it in with a brush. But that's just how I like to do it. So I'm going to put on my foundation, and then I'll be right back to show you what it looks like. So I went ahead and blended that out. You can see that. You can definitely see that under my eyes. They're a little bit brighter, have a little more coverage. So what I'm going to do is put a pump on my hand, and I'm going to blend my sponge into it. Just kind of pat it in, and then I'm going to go over my face just to give it that finish of a sponge. So I went ahead and just kind of patted over the foundation with my sponge so that I could get that finish of a beauty blender or a beauty sponge without losing any coverage. So that's what my skin looks like. So the next thing I'm going to do is cream contour. So with this is definitely optional. I'm just including it in here so that you guys have an option if you're looking for a cream contour at Sephora or like a high-end cream contour. But it's definitely optional. It's not a necessity. The bronzer I'm going to talk about is great too. So, this really is just depending on your preferences. So the bronzer I'm talking about is the Milk Makeup. Hello. So the bronzer I'm talking about is the Milk Makeup. And this is the matte bronzer in the shade Baked. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to go like this in the product to get it on the brush. I don't want to go in straight with it. You can, but I just don't like doing that. So I'm going to do it on my brush like that. And then I'm going to dab a little bit on my face here. And then do the other side just to disperse an even amount of product. And then I'm going to blend and buff it in. And you want to make sure that you're blending upwards because you don't want to drag your face down. You want to keep this line here. It doesn't have to be like a sharp line, but you want to keep a line there. Make sure that everything is staying nice and upwards. So I'm just blending that in. The amount of product I'm using is very light. I'm pretty pale, so I don't want to use too much. They do have 2 shades of this, so, if you have a deeper skin tone, you can go with the shade Blazed or Blaze. But if you're light to medium skin tones, you can definitely make Baked work. If you can't find a shade in this one to work for you, I recommend the Huda Beauty Tantors. Those are pretty good too. They're very, very pigmented. So I use the shade Fair, and I have to use like the littlest bit. Like I dip my brush in once, and then I like pat it on my hand, and then I'll go in with it, just so I don't have too much product. But if you're looking for a shade and you don't think Baked or Blaze will work for you from Milk, then I recommend going with the Huda Beauty because it's a good product as well. I just like this one better. So I'm going to go on my forehead. And then I'm going to also do my jaw and my nose. And we'll be right back. All right, so I've gone ahead and used the bronzer and just kind of carved out a little bit. You can see it's pretty warm, but I really like the shade. In person, it blended into my skin really well. I don't know if on camera it looks a little bit warm. My monitor's showing me it does, but I guess I'll see when I get to editing how it looks. But now that I've done bronzer, I'm going to go ahead and set my face. So the thing with setting powders is it's really dependent on your skin. So the powder that I'm going to recommend is good for many different skin tones. I think it will, I'm dry normal and it works great on me. And I've seen people with oily skin use it and love it. So that's why I'm not saying the Laura Mercier, because that can be too drying on dry skin or mature skin or, even normal skin, depending on the products you have underneath. So the powder that I recommend is the Cover FX, the Perfect Setting Powder. I think they have 2 or 3 shades in this. I have Translucent Light. Wow, I'm failing at this. And as you could tell, I'm about half left, which is not bad for me. And it does have comes with a little like stopper, so you just pop it up and there's your powder. So I'm going to powder my whole face and just be a little gentle around the bronzer so that I don't, so that I don't bother it in any way, disturb it in any way. And then I'll be right back. All right, so I went ahead and set my face. So I'm going to take my powder brush and just kind of sweep over my whole face to get any excess powder off. You can see that definitely toned down the bronzer a little bit, slightly mattified my skin, just set everything down nice and smooth. So next, I'm going to go back to the eyes. So I'm going to take my Huda Beauty palette, and I'm going to go into this shade. This shade right here. And I'm going to smudge that along the lower lash line. All right, now I'm going to go in with this shade right here. And I'm again just going to put it on the inner and outer portion of my lower lash line. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this shade and I'm going to use a packing brush, but I want a small packing brush. Let me see what I can find. So I'm going to take this brush, I'm going to dip into that shade, and I'm going to put it right in the center of my lower lash line. So as you can tell, I just added a nice light sheen to the under eyes. Nothing too extra or anything like that. I hope you could see that. So I'm just going to take the brush we used again with the first shade and just kind of lightly blend over it. Just kind of connect it with everything else going on. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a liquid liner to line my upper lash line. And this one's fairly new, but out of all the ones I have, it's probably my favorite. And this is by One Size. So Patrick Starr's brand. And this is the Point Made Bodacious Black 24-Hour Liquid Eyeliner Pen. Is it shade to shake? I don't know that it says to shake it, but with most, yeah, I don't think you need to shake it, but some do say that, like the Too Faced Better Than Sex liner says to do that. So just make sure you're reading the directions on whatever you're using so that you're using it right. Because if you don't shake when it tells you to shake, it might not work as well as it could. So I'm just going to create a line on my upper lash. So I went ahead and created a line, just a little thin line on my upper eyeball area. But I want to make sure that it's dry before I do anything else on the eyes. So what I'm going to do in the meantime is set my brows. So I'm more of a clear brow gel person. So I have the Benefit 24-hour brow setter. So this is the clear one. They have a brow gel that's tinted. I don't remember what it's called, but I like clear brow gels, as I mentioned. So I'm just going to use the wand and spoolie this through my brows. So what I'm also going to do is just take a spoolie that doesn't have anything on it, and I'm just going to brush my brows in the direction and the place that I want them, just to make sure that they're exactly how I like them. Since this is a very good brow gel, it sets your brows in place for a really long time. So I want to make sure that my brows are where I want them for the whole day. English is hard. All right. So now that that's done, I'm going to go back to the eyes, and I'm going to tightline my upper lash line. So for that, I'm going to use my Marc Jacobs. This is the highliner. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it with the color that it is. So this is the highliner gel eye crayon, and this is in the shade Blackcour. It's just black. So I'm going to tightline with this. And if you don't like this, or you don't want to, if you don't like this, or you don't want to buy Marc Jacobs, or whatever, check out the Urban Decay 24-hour Glide On pencils. I've heard really good things about those. I don't have any, but and if you don't like eyeliner, or you don't like getting that close to your eyes, don't use it. It's not too big of a deal. But I do like to have that eyeliner on. If I do top liner, I like to do the I like to tightline my upper and lower, but I don't like to do black down there because I have pretty small eyes, so I like to make them a little wider. So I'm going to use a white or a nude. The only nude or white that I have from Sephora is the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil, and this is in the shade Boundless Bisque. There it is, Boundless Bisque. And I'm just going to tightline my lower lashes with this. So now that I've lined my eyes, I'm going to curl my lashes and do my mascara. So if you've seen my other videos, I like to do a different mascara on the top lashes than on the bottom lashes, just because a smaller and a longer wand is better than an hourglass shaped wand for the lower lashes. So making sure that you aren't, getting the mascara everywhere is, pretty important. So for upper lashes, I like to use the Lancome Monsieur Big. I don't know how to pronounce that totally properly, but whatever. There we go. And I think they have a waterproof version too. I haven't tried that, but if you like waterproof mascara, go ahead and try it out. They have minis for both of these, so if you just want to try it out, then go ahead and do it that way. So I'm going to curl my lashes real quick, and then I'm going to apply that Lancome mascara. All right, so that's one coat of the mascara. So as you can tell, this is the before. So this is curled with no mascara. This is the after. This is curled with one coat of mascara. You can see just a bit of a difference, you know, nothing too crazy. So I'm going to do this eye, and I'll be right back. All right, so I went ahead and did the other eye, and I also added a second coat to both of them. So this is what it looks like now. Let me know down below if you think that second coat really did anything. I don't know that I can see any difference with that second coat. But now let's go ahead and do the lower mascara. And for this, I like the Wander Beauty Mile High Club mascara. Let me show you what the wand looks like. So this is the wand. So you can see it's long and thin, and the bristles aren't too long. So I'm just going to kind of wiggle it on my lower lashes. All right, so that is the lower lashes done, and that completes the eye look. Once I do highlighter on my face, I will add that in my inner corner and on my brow bone. But let's go ahead and do bronzer first. So for bronzer, you know, this won't surprise anybody, but this is the Marc Jacobs Omega bronzer. And I have the shade 102, 102 Tantric. This is what that looks like. It's a little bit warmer than 104 Fantastic. But I have both, but right now, when I'm filming this, Tantastic isn't in stock, so that's why I'm going to use this one. But, you know, same formula, just different colors, and I recommend both of them. So I'm just going to bronze my cheeks. Everywhere I did the cream bronzer, I'm just going to go over it with the Marc Jacobs. All right, so that's the bronzer. So next, let's go in with blush. So I don't have too many not necessarily high-end blushes, but I just don't have a lot that are in Sephora. But this is a fave, you know, regardless of where I get it from. And this is the Jouer Blush Bouquet, or the Blush Duo. This is in the shade Adore Blush. So we have Adore Me and Hold Me. And this is what they look like. So I'm going to go in with this shade today and just blend that into my cheeks. And if you ever feel like you applied just too much bronzer, blush, you know, whatever it is, just go in with your powder brush that you use to kind of wipe away the powder and just kind of sweep it over both. And that'll give you more of a blended in kind of look. So now let's go into highlighter. This is my favorite part, 100% always. And this is the Milk Makeup Flex Highlighter, and this is in the shade Lit. This is beautiful. They have a bunch of shades. This one's a little bit pinky, but it's the one that works for my skin tone the best. They have another one that is like golden. They have a bunch of options, so I'm just going to apply this on my cheekbones, my nose, my forehead, my Cupid's bow, and then we'll do the inner corner and the brow bone. So there you can see that. Nice and pigmented. Absolutely beautiful. Look at that. What? And just like with the bronzer and blush, you can go in with your powder brush and kind of blend it into those, or you can even go in with your blush and bronzer brush and do that. But whatever your preference is, you can blend it out if you don't like how pigmented it is. But I love this, and I love a blinding highlight. So now that I have highlighter on, the only thing we have to do is lips and setting spray and we'll be done. So I'm going to wipe off everything that's on my lips right now, which is mainly foundation, and then we'll get started on the lips. So for lips, I wanted to give you a couple options. So I have, a lip liner, a bullet lipstick, a liquid lipstick, and a gloss. So for lip liner, I have, just like the eyeliner we used, I have the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil. Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil. And this is in the shade Wherever Walnut. And they have a ton of different shades. This is the same formula. It's actually the exact same thing as the Boundless Bisque shade that we used on my waterline. So this formula is for anything face, which I really enjoy. So it's multi-purpose, and they have so many shades, so it's perfect. So I'm just gonna line my lips with this, and I'll be right back. All right, so we've got lip liner on. So the next step would be lipstick in whatever formula. So I have two bullet lipsticks I want to talk about, and they're both from NARS. So you can see they're a little bit different. So this one is the Audacious Lipsticks, and this is in the shade Anita. Hello. And this one is more creamy than the other one. So that's what that shade looks like. You see it even looks creamy on the hands. And then this is just their lipstick, and this is in the shade Pigalle, and it's matte. So just like it suggests, it is definitely more mattifying than the Audacious lipsticks, and those are the two shades right there. So one's a little bit more mauve-y rosy, one's a little more brownie nude. And then I did want to give you an option for liquid lipsticks. These aren't they aren't the kind of liquid lipsticks that like dry down completely and kind of make your lips go, but they're a really good formula, and that is the Huda Beauty Demi Mattes. Hello, Demi Matte. And that is the Huda Beauty Demi Matte Liquid Lipstick. And I have the shade Shiro, which I'll swatch for you. So this is Shiro. And then I have the shade Feminist. They're pretty similar, but a little bit different. And that's Feminist right there. They look very similar on my hand, but they also look very similar in person too. So you do not need both of those. So for today's look, I'm going to use the NARS lipstick in the shade Pigalle. This is the matte one. And I'm going to put a gloss on top, which is why I'm going to use the matte one. If you use the Huda Beauty Demi Mattes or just a creamier lipstick in general, it can be a little difficult to put a gloss on top because, it's not fully dried down. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and go in with this matte. All right, and that is the lipstick on. So finally for gloss, I have two shades, but the same formula, and that is the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bombs. And I have the shade Fenty Glow, which is this one. And I'll swatch it for you. See if you can see anything. So this is, I believe, the original shade. And that's what that one looks like there. And then I have the shade Diamond Milk, just like an icy white. And I'll swatch that here. Don't know how much you'll be able to see that one because of the shade. But, oh, you can see it a little bit. Can you see that? Just white with some, or clear, a little bit white, some sparkly sparkles. So I think today I'm going to go in with Fenty Glow. And I'm going to take it out. I'm going to do a swipe. You know, I'm going to apply it. And then I'm going to wipe the applicator off on the back of my hand so that when I put it back in the, what is this, tube, I guess, I'm not getting my lipstick shade in the tube. So if you have like a clear gloss, or even that Fenty one, and you put it on top of something, the applicator is going to get dirty. So you want to make sure that, you know, if you have to dip back in, you're wiping the paddle before you dip back in. If you don't have to dip back in, but you're just, you know, putting the product back together, make sure you're just wiping it off so that you're not getting your lip color onto your, or into your product in general. So I'm just going to apply this. So now you can see the lips just look juicier, more hydrated, and nice and shiny. So for the last step, we're going to do setting spray. Now, the one I'm recommending is one to hold your makeup in. It's not dewy, it's not luminous, it's not mattifying, it's just sticking your makeup to your face. And if you saw my earlier videos, you know I have the Charlotte Tilbury lip setting spray sitting on my new in drawer, or in my, on top of my collection over here. And I'm just waiting to try that one out, but you know, that might become a favorite, but for now, this is the one I know best, and that is the Urban Decay All-Nighter. Are you surprised? You shouldn't be. Most people love this. Hello? You do the focus? Or whatever, you can see that. So I'm just going to spray my face and use my fan to kind of dry it all together, and then we'll be done. All right, so that's us done. I'm gonna take this out of my hair. Just kind of comb through it a little bit. Picked a bad day to wear gloss and have my hair down because those two things do not go well together. But here's the finished look. See that? Look at that highlighter. So now with the Sephora sale going on, it's a perfect time to either, you know, try high-end makeup for the first time, stock up on some faves, like my recommendations video mentioned, or just try a new product from Sephora, even if you've already tried high-end in the past. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Like I said, this is a full face of my Sephora starter kit, just to get you going on high-end makeup. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, like, comment, let me know what you want to see next. And thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!